Hello and welcome back to A to B Two Sides podcast with your host Yuel Yang Yuk, where we're bridging divine minds to a divine paradigm. Today I'm going to be talking about transformation as 5, which is this is the 5th episode of the podcast. The number 5 in numerology is to do with transformation. Now, personally, I've just spent 6 weeks in isolation, basically segregation in a correctional facility, and there's no reason why I can't think that they could have thought of a better title for Jean-Claude Van Damme's film In Hell, where Jean-Claude Van Damme is in jail. But I wasn't in there for that long, but in segregation, like in isolation, it's pretty hard. Like 23.5 hours a day alone inside a cell is fucked. And I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I wouldn't do that to another human being. But, coming from a higher level of consciousness, have more compassion and understanding. Considering all the things that I've been through, I still have a high level of compassion and understanding for people. But my time in there, basically, I just wrote as much as I could and going through a spiritual awakening, which I have been going through for several years now, about 5 years. I just focused on meditation, breath work, exercising, and being patient and trying not to lose my head. I think the worst thing you can do is leave someone alone with their own thoughts, to leave them alone with themselves. I think that isolation for human beings is there's some pretty bad forms of torture out there, but it's certainly, it is a form of torture. So we'll leave it at that. Now, with the transformation and number 5, I think collectively people are being forced to shed their skin, to eject their ectoplasm from their inner selves. No, I'm just joking there. I think that the Lord, who sees all and commands us to do what we should do for our highest and greatest good, because he can see what is ahead of us, has a great plan for us, and we need to have faith all the time. And although personally I've been through some things, I haven't lost my faith. I have complete faith in the Lord, and feel like I want to say I always have and always will. It's pretty true, because no matter how hard my life's gotten, I've always kept my faith, and it's gotten me through a lot of things. Now, the faith and the transformation, I guess Yeshua went through his transformation, and the prophets went through their own transformations when they kept their faith. So I think it's really important at this time in the collective awakening that we keep our faith, the faith in a high power, in our higher selves, in the Lord, and try to follow the commands as much as possible and surrender, and fight through those energies that are pushing us to evolve. I'm probably not as in a high vibration as some of the people that have gone through their awakening, but I'm getting there slowly. My evolution is at another end of the scale, not at the other end of the scale, but maybe, I don't know how to explain it. Everyone's unique and different and goes through things differently, and I think that for me personally, um, gathering the knowledge and wisdom through the things that I've learned. It's had to happen that way before I can get to where I need to go through to the next level of the planetary evolution in the collective consciousness, which the planet's going through a collective ascension. And I think a lot of people know what that means, but what we have to do is ascend so that we know what's to come and we have control of our avatars so that we have no fear of what's to come. Because there's a new game coming out next year. Well, it's actually a sequel to 3 other games. It's called Diablo. It's like a third-person role-playing game, and don't mean to bring video games into this, but it's kind of important. It's the 4th game, so IV1, IV4 in Roman numerals, IV. It's basically Lilith coming back, and the game's released on the 6th, and it's saying that basically all hell's going to break loose. So that's interesting that I just saw that earlier. And yeah, that's 6/6, and yeah, Lilith. So it's my own little revelation of like synchronicities in my life to see that and to understand what that means. You know, as higher things trickle down into the lower dimensions. So what we experience here of the collective transformation is already happening or has already happened in the higher realms. So we're only seeing like the arse end of it. But we are already, the ones that have ascended are already in the higher realms, but we just haven't, I can't speak for everyone, I can only speak for myself. I haven't reached that point yet. To assume that I have already ascended. I mean, if I follow the Lord's commandments, then I will. It's just a matter of time and effort. And it's a great effort for me because I'm really struggling with the spiritual awakening, which no one ever said it was going to be easy, and no pain, no gain. So there's a lot to it. It's not like what I thought it was a few years ago. And I think it's different for everyone. Everyone goes through their own special, unique awakening. So, yeah. So going through this, like a part of my spiritual awakening, probably the hardest, almost the hardest part while I was in a correctional facility. It was pretty hard, but I think it served a purpose, as everything does. And I'm grateful for that experience. It's just, don't want to do it again. But then sometimes I think that we've done all this before so many times and we just keep doing it until we get it right. So that's yeah, I mean, if I was at a lot higher level of understanding and wisdom, then I wouldn't feel the way I do. I'd feel differently about it. But at this point, you know, it does concern me. But at the same time, I know that there's a reason for it. But because we all have free will, it means that we all have to play our part and put our back into it, you know, put that effort in. And sometimes it feels like you're pushing shit uphill, but yeah, like I said, no one ever said it was going to be easy. So to everyone that's going through the spiritual awakening, good job. And thank you for choosing to come here at this time on our planet, on Terra, Panterra, the Pan's Labyrinth, the mind labyrinth that we're in. Yeah, it's an interesting experience, to say the least. And we definitely chose to come here. Well, that's what I'd like to believe. Otherwise, we wouldn't have free will, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to be forced into this and then not have free will. That doesn't logically make any sense. But universe isn't always logical. There are paradoxes, so it could be that we were pushed into it and then got free will to get out of it. So there's that as well. I mean, like if we were captured by aliens and they put us in some sort of simulation run by an artificial intelligence, and the algorithms has holes or like things they haven't patched or figured out, or it's intentional, like they go, well, we captured you and we're going to do this and that, but you can get out, but you have to do this to get out, this kind of thing. Leaving it up to us, to free will, have a free will agreement. So if they created it on this plane of existence, this reality, and we exist somewhere else outside of this plane, and they've given us free will, then it makes sense to me. I mean, I didn't explain it the best, but it'd probably take me a long time to explain. But for those of you listening, you know what I mean. Yeah. So that's the transformation. Like as if there's some like black goo of AI nanobots that's consuming us, like Venom, Venom, Spider-Man. It's like being consumed by black goo. That's actually probably pretty realistic if we are being consumed by nanobots. And yeah, it's gone into our mind and then tricking us into something and then feeding off of us like a parasite. It's like a mind trick. While it consumes our life force energy and evolves itself, so we have to beat it so that we can evolve, and then we can use it. Once we overcome it, whatever it is. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think I'm going to leave it there. Much love.